So I thought I'd explain what it's like being in Immortal. I know not everyone is going to get the chance to be in Immortal, and I don't just mean the server Immortal, which I am. I just mean like the Immortal in general, like the faction. So I want to explain what the Immortals get for being Immortal. I want to explain basically the best strategy if you're running a clan in this Immortal. I want to explain the rewards, the cosmetics, how all of it works. So basically, once you win the Rite of the Exile, you become the Immortal. 3 clans are going to become the Immortal. The primary clan is going to select 2 other clans. These 3 clans are a total of 300 people, and you can see them in the list here. Now, there's a strategy tab, which is essentially the 3 different things that are a big deal about the Immortals. You're going to have the Vault, which is where you go to be able to receive random, or not so much random, I mean, you can see which legendaries there are. You can actually choose which ones you want to grab, and you can say, hey, I want to request this item, I want to request this item. And this is actually especially cool because you can request any type of item. So you can pick the rarity, you can pick the type of this, like I only want legendaries, I only want them from my class, and then you can go and you can look through the vault to be able to see what's available, and then you can say, I want to request that I get this one, etc. Then on Sunday, as soon as it rolls over into Monday, it pays out all of the legendary items that are still in the vault that the Shadows have not stolen from the raiding the vault into the Immortals who requested it based upon their contribution points. Contribution points you can see here. So basically, the top person's going to get the first pick, then this person, and yada, yada, yada. You can see down here, I'm going to be like this person, so I'll be like 9th or 10th or whatever in a row, based upon your contribution points. You get contribution points by basically doing the different activities, which aren't that different from being a Shadow. You have the other side of the vault, which is just like technically way worse. When you're raiding the vault is way easier to get into, seems to be better in terms of the vault itself. So if you're actually in Immortal, defending the vault, it's a little bit annoying. There's the Keons Ordeal, which you have to collect the Essentia, which of course you get from your daily goals, as you can see when you click on right here, but also you have to defend in the vault itself, and you can use it to launch the Keons Ordeal, which is going to give you basically legendary rewards. The only problem with this is only 48 players per attempt of this can go in, but you have 300 players. So the problem with the Immortals is kind of consistently more about the top and top and top. So there can only 300 of them, more of those, and then below them's the Shadows. But above the Immortals, then you have like the 48 people that are going to be able to make it in the challenge. Then you have like the 4 lieutenants, and then you have the Immortal leader, right? So it's always kind of a snowball up effect, and this is by purpose, because the reason they do this on purpose is essentially to cause drama sort of in the Immortals, because the whole lore behind it is that the Immortals are supposed to become more and more corrupt, and basically there's the whole wall of honor, and there's a statue and all that, and eventually people get salty at the Immortals and they overthrow them because they feel like they're super corrupt. It's kind of in line with the lore. As far as the actual in-game gameplay mechanics of it, though, it can cause a lot of problems. Just the truth of it is people always want to be able to do this raid, and when you become an Immortal, you're going to want to be able to do the raid. The reality is not everyone's going to get a chance to do the raid unless you actually go through, and every single time you do the raid, you do a different set of 48 people, and the problem with doing that is you only get to do the raid so many times. So unless you're at the raid for so many weeks straight, not everyone gets a chance to experience it, essentially. So that's one feedback on that. So you have the Battlegrounds here. The Battlegrounds are the same thing, Shadows and Immortals, okay? The Corvus Expedition is actually just really bad. I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's actually just really bad. Basically what the Corvus Expedition is, I'm not even going to bother showing B-roll footage of this, because trust me, you don't need to see it. The only thing it is there's one of those like purple bosses, like 3 dudes actually, that purple bosses spawn with like a sword and shield or sword and axe, or like barbarians, and you kill them or whatever. And other than that, you have to stand in the line to connect the line of like lightning from one of the altars to another, and then it's basically over, and you do 3 questions of trivia. It takes like 5 minutes. The rewards are literally like 5 scrap and like 3,000 gold. It's actually just bad. The numbers are off. It might even be less than that. I don't know. I remember it's so bad that all of us laugh about it. Like you get a few keys. You actually do get a few of the aspirant keys. So if you're doing the Legacy of Herodom, that's kind of nice. But after we saw both the Corvus as well as the defending the vault, dude, basically the Immortals, they have problems with being an Immortal. Well, I'm not the first one to say this, and I'm sure as hell not going to be the last one to say this, but I figure if we're explaining the Immortals, I might as well explain all the problems too with being the Immortals. So if you're a Shadow, you don't actually feel bad, because to be honest, being a Shadow seems to be pretty good as well once you're actually an Immortal. So Now, there's the Rite of the Exile, of course, which is just defending yourself. And then there's your daily goes. The daily goes are probably the coolest part, though, which is where every day you go through and you do sort of additional quests. Think of these like contracts where you basically complete a different quest, like go do these dungeons, gather dust, etc. One problem, dungeons still can't be done solo. So because of that, you basically have to find a party for these every single time. And these aren't always the ones that are boosted. So sometimes it can be hard to find a party for them, but you would think the other Immortals are doing them, etc. So you all end up partying up to do these. That being said, you can also just go the normal and solo these to get the dailies out of the way if you just want it done in like 2 seconds and you don't want to find a party. So it's not the biggest deal in the world, but you can see most of these are pretty easy quests. Okay. Essentially. So now if you actually look at the rest of it, so there's the rain here, and the rain, there is these ranks that go up. So you're going to notice bronze 1, and at bronze 1 we get the cloak. At bronze 2 you get the bronze age chest, and you get some, the Keons Ordeo is unlocked. You know, at this rank we're going to get the elite cloak, and yada yada yada. As you go up more and more and more, you're going to get more and more and more and more and more rewards. It goes all the way up to gold 4, and at gold 4 you can see that you get more crown powers, you get more crown rewards, you get another golden crown chest, etc. Where it really stops being a big deal is sort of at the hilt trader, where you get the 5 new items, because once you're actually at gold 3 you can get new items in the hilt trader. That's another thing you actually get here as well, which I should point out, which I will walk to the hilt trader here. Oh, also one other thing about the Immortals, you actually get bonus stats, which is kind of cool from the Eternal Crown. So this is sort of exactly like the Shadow, where you have the Shadows version that gets extra percentages with the ranks. You have the Eternal Crown rank, which is the crown is for all the Immortals as opposed to just the Shadows, and you can see your damage percentage there. And then of course the 4 lieutenants get the 4 different crowns, which have the active ability, and then I myself get the actual Immortal Crown, which is the 6th button you can see here that's on cooldown, which is every 30 minutes you get an active ability, etc. So let me show you the Hilts Trader here, because the Hilts Trader is sort of the only other spot that I would say really tends to matter. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the balance too, because if you make the Immortals a little bit better, people are going to want to be the Immortals, and it's going to fix a lot of the problems in the game. But I'm also a little bit hesitant, because that's the common feedback. If you're wondering, and by the way, here, let's talk about this real quick. You can get the Sigil of Dominance, which is what you can use to contribute. You can get more crest here, mystery legendary item, another gem, another legendary crest. It's basically a repeat of like the Gemro one, for instance. So a lot of people are giving the feedback that the Immortals need to be buffed, which I can understand that feedback. If we buff the Immortals, it's going to make the Shadows not want to throw, because basically the Immortals are worth being, and everyone's going to take the chance of being the Immortal. The other problem is, like, they probably don't want it to snowball too hard, and if you have a dead server, I could see Immortals reigning for quite some time. I also think it's pretty nice that you don't necessarily have to be one of the 300 Immortals to get good rewards. Like, the Shadow versus the Immortal rewards are fairly similar. So what it really ends up boiling down to is, the majority of this is what it boils down to is, I'll be honest, the biggest thing for me is the Vault Legendaries. The ability to be able to go in here to the Vault, do the contribute, and you can see the losses, like you can see what we lose, the legendary gear we lose, etc. But being able to go into this vault, select what class I want, like I know I'm going to be Barbarian next, so I can go through and only pick Barbarian gear, etc., and still be able to draw for that. Or I can go to my class here, and then I can actually go through, and you can see the ones I've requested are like triple rows, like there's really good pieces of gear sitting here to be had, and you can already see the rows, so you can snipe basically the positions that you need the combat rating upgrades in the most, which is really important. So basically the majority of the Immortals, both Immortal versus Shadow anyway, it feels like it boils down to Sundays with the Rite, because the Rite is just fun. I don't care if you win or lose, the Rite is fun. It took us a lot of attempts to become the Immortal, it took us many tries, and every single one was fun regardless. We all loved the experience, so I like that. The other cool part is the vault rewards, but the Shadow raiding the vault is actually quite fun. Most people doing it. Defending the vault is very bad, because you have to fight all the other people, like spam clicking to try to get in. So what you end up having to do is organize it through Discord, etc., which forces everyone basically outside to a third-party system to communicate with each other. And typically in games, I like it when the game itself solves the problem with organization, so that other people don't have to go out of their way to make a structure to do it. You quite literally can see the Immortals lining upside outside of the vault to defend it, just in a line, so that way people go in a row and they don't have to compete with each other. When that type of stuff has to happen and players have to hold each other accountable and in game to be able to not jump queues and stuff, like, and there's no way to stop it from happening, it essentially is, in my opinion, purely bad game design. I don't think I'm the only one to say this. I know for a fact they've already heard this feedback, so I'm not going to hammer on it too much, but I just want to reiterate what other people have said basically as well. So there's other really cool stuff about this, but most of it is like EP size stuff. Like if I go to the Wall of Honor, this stuff's really cool, right? You can see, look here, DM, I'm the Immortal. I'll have a statue in the game when we hit the next rank, all of this stuff. But none of this is, like, this part doesn't matter. The statue that's going to show up with me doesn't matter. Like, the cosmetics are really cool and all that, and the fact that I'm the Immortal will get the cool upgraded one, that's great. It doesn't actually affect anything. So if you're wondering, like, are these Immortal cosmetics actually doing anything? No. In fact, if you go here and you're like, okay, I want to equip different cosmetics, you can't even equip it, okay? It's something that happens automatically by itself. It's just there. So you don't get any bonus stats or anything like that. If you're wondering, all of that comes from the Eternal Crown. That's sort of my initial impressions on this. It's quite fun. I think it's an interesting thing that everyone, I hope, gets the chance to experience. Like, gets the chance to go into the Immortals, try out all the quests, see what it's like, get the cool cape, have some fun, get some screenshots. But if you don't ever become the Immortal, you're not really missing out on that much. I'm going to be honest. It's sort of a really cool in-game experience, but once you get past the dailies and stuff, the actual in-game loop of gameplay, the mechanics, the hardcore grinding of it, isn't really super different. One of the coolest things I like about the fact that the Immortals have is the actual in-game Immortal chat. Like, we have 300 people in the Immortal chat. So you actually get, if you all have like the same clan or something, or you're all friends anyway with the 3 different clans, you sort of have like a bigger group of people to pull from when you actually want to be able to do dungeons, for instance. And you can see here, like, the Immortal statue and stuff of, this is cool. It will be added. As you can see, the one is going to actually look like me, because it just looks like a random person right now. Once we actually get to the next age, if you look right here, we're saving. So let's talk about getting the ages and the points. So there's a strategy, which what you can do is you can choose a strategy for the Immortals. Like, you either gain dominance quickly, you make it harder for the Shadows to raid the vault, or you increase your loyalty. Basically, the best strategy in the game is you bolster the vault for defense, and then every Sunday, right before you turn in the points, you do the all dominance gains, or 1.2, and everyone saves up and stacks on your sigil of dominance. So that what happens is, on the week that, or on the day that we're all going to turn them in, which is like the end of the week, we all boost this rank at the same time and get all our contribution points, etc. This min-maxes your efficiency as much as possible. So just if you're running an Immortal clan, which I know there's probably only like 10 people out there that are going to watch this video, see that, that's actually technically the best strategy that we've been able to tell as well. So shout out to the people that have made that strategy known. With all of that being said, it's pretty cool. Being an Immortal, I'm sure will get better. Like, once I have the statue up and stuff, I'm sure I'll make some videos talking about it and all that. But I don't want you to feel like if you're not an Immortal, it's a big deal. Because I was a Shadow for like 5 weeks, and the Shadow was basically like 95% as fun. Like, being the Immortal is really fun and kind of gave me a boost of energy because I wanted to try something new in the game. But then once you kind of try the new stuff in the game, it's not too big of a deal, just so you guys know. Love y'all. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.